Chocy Chat, it's Friday the 25th of October. It's episode 153. How is everybody doing? I'm going to say some shout outs. There's always a little bit of a delay between me saying hello and then the names popping up, but the names have popped up. So Surfer Leg down there, I think you're in New Zealand, definitely. Mrs. So Sassy's joined us. Ron Bonbons, how are you, mate? Billy at Scottish Chocolates, I am good. Billy, that's some nice treats that you posted today. You've got some very lucky neighbours, haven't you? I think the mint. Yeah, do you want to do some swapsies for some stuff? Anyway, Nettie's there. Hello, how you doing, Ron? Who else have we got? Susie Floozy. How are you, Susie? Grange Chocolates. I'm going to send some waves out there. What else have we got? Some new names here. If you're new tonight, ask questions. If I know the answer, I will give it my best go. If I don't know the answer, I'll tell you I don't know, and I can find out for you. So, Pretty Fancy Chocolates, that's Mariba down in New Zealand. Again, posting some amazing stuff. Love those bars with the luster dust you post. Absolutely amazing. Lonely Clarson, I should say, is in Denmark. Hello, hello. Linda there, Chocy Chat, hello. She's in New Jersey, I think. Ruth Kendrick, hello in Utah. Who else we got? Mother Baker. Mother Baker, she's in Northern Ireland tonight. She's bulling shoes and making them all shiny. Mo, send me a picture of the finished shoes after you finish bulling them. Obviously, I can rate them out of 10. If they're good, great. If they're not, they're going out the window, right? Strange thing about the army, that, wasn't it? The army days. Like, you do kit inspections and you try your hardest. And if it wasn't good enough, it went out of the window outside. It's like if it wasn't bad enough, now it's really worse than when I started. So I think they called it character building. Didn't build my character. Just made me resent the idiots that were teaching me. Isle Bakes there over in the Isle of Wight. Paula there, Fusion Chocolates. Everybody's getting busy this week, aren't they? Everybody's getting busy this. Who else have we got? Valenbrando, hello from Torino in Italy. Hello, hello. Mouth Explosions, how are you? Dolce Mara there, I think, is down in Joburg, I think, South Africa. Could be Cape Town. I think it is Joburg. Oh, that's good to know, Susie. I'm glad you're all healed up now. You ready for the... Did you see the post from Bill on the Facebook page with the... I've got the grips. Let's find one that's got the grips on it. Got a load of new mould, so it's like they only grab one. I got grips on mine, and I need to get some more. But Bill's got the pliers holding on to the end, and it's like, wow, that's just definitely. They did not make these for us to hold on to, did they? Right? The people that designed them looked at it and went, yeah, that'll do. No, it won't do. We're the end users. It won't do. We need these to be able to do a bit more. We need to be able to. Like, why isn't there a little thumb dent in here? Why aren't there grips there? Why are they so bloody hard to hold on to? 2 or 3 moulds, absolutely fine, right? Once you get past 10, 20, 30 moulds, your hands are falling apart, of which everybody will discover as we get nearer to December with repetitive strain injuries. Stuart, Blind Chocolatier, how are you, mate? Stuart, I got your message earlier. I will answer you that. I spent the week literally just chasing my tail. One of the products, well, it's getting those all finished and launched, and I thought I had lots of stock, and well, they're nearly sold out. So we'll get more stock made, and we'll stay ahead of production. But yeah, I just spent the whole week just like chasing my tail. Chocolate by Neander, again, I said chocolate. I saw your email. I will answer your emails. I've got emails backed up everywhere at the minute. So Noah there in Portugal, hello. Hello, great people. Just spent the last hour talking to a local reporter who found me on Instagram. Yes, New Jersey. Way to go, Linda. Linda, we need to schedule next week if we can, if you're not too busy. I've got a new phone and it's doing stuff. So bear with me if it all goes a little bit pear-shaped tonight. New phone, new lessons. Who else have we got? Forest Road Chocolates, how are you? Hello, Chocy Chat friends. It is Friday night, it's Chocy Chat, and it's chat to your friends, right? You can say hello to people in the comments. Say hello to me if you want to. If you've got questions, fire away. I'll try and answer them. If I know the answer, I'll answer. If I don't know the answer, I'll give you an absolute honest appreciation of my interpretation of what's happening without all the crappy chef jargon, right? That's what we like in Chocy Chat, isn't it? Let's keep things stupid, simple, and then Nobody's in the dark over silly little words that chefs use, right? Jason there in Napa Valley, how you doing, mate? So who else have we got? Matar. Chocolates by Neander. Yes, I did. I got your email about the class. I will answer you. Linda Mark will send you some grips. I tell you what, yeah, Linda, do you know what, Linda, I think like Mark and I need to come to an agreement. If I buy some from you and I'll just forward them on to people, I don't know how we'll do that. We'll have a chat, because I get a lot of questions about the grips. These bits. If anybody's got shady hands and wrists and things that don't work, they are an absolute, the grips are an absolute game changer. They are a game changer, particularly when you're knee deep in shelling. It's just a little extra purchase on the mould. It just, like, there is, I'm sure this happened to many, happens to me. You know, when you accidentally let go of it and it drops in the chocolate. It's kind of give up mode, isn't it? It's like hit the lights, take a break, have a Kit Kat. Just do something to calm down and then come back and clean up the mess, right? So you never want to drop a mould in the chocolate. It's just not good. And if you're unlucky enough to have a sell me and you've dropped a mould into the tank, that's even worse. It's absolute carnage. So Ellen there, how are you doing? Ellen, Vincent as well as pastry chef. Who else we've got? Happy day. Oh, have you had a week off, Stuart? Happy days. Kelly's there. Hello, Kelly. Who else? I've got a front of my throat. Here's a question: when using chocolate and glucose to glue, what ratio recommend? I do 1 part glucose to 1 part chocolate. Right? If it's a dark chocolate, if it's a milk chocolate, I do 2 parts chocolate to 1 part glucose. Cool it right down. Don't need to temper it, but cool it right down. Kind of around about the 26 mark, so it's just tacky. Warm the glucose, don't warm it above 40. Warm the glucose, add the chocolate to it and stir it through, and then wait until it's got to that tacky stage, and then you can put it in a little piping bag. Your hand warmth will keep it warm enough so that you can pipe and use it like a confectioner's glue, right? So glucose and chocolate together. Dark chocolate 1 to 1, milk chocolate 2 parts chocolate to 1. It's not something I do with white chocolate. White chocolate I just pipe on and use it as glue as itself. So Sterling Chocolates, how are you, mate? Kelly saying, sorry I'm late. Was in the dollar store where I found spouted mixing bowls in the US. All right, yeah, so anybody in the US, spouted mixing bowls. That's the spout bit. You're in the dollar store. I'm going to have a guess that they only cost $1, right? We have a shop here called Poundland, but there's not much in it that's a pound. Most of it seems to be more than a pound. Advertising. Linda there and Jordan, hello. I love that the first 5 minutes everyone's just saying hello to each other. It's Chocky Chat, right? You can guarantee your friends are here on Friday night, right? My friends are here on Friday night as well. That'd be all you lot. £1.25 at the dollar store. How happy days. Share a picture, Kelly, so that the whole of America can go and find. I can't believe people can't find plastic tubs. My sister-in-law is in Chicago and she's like, I can't find plastic tubs for chocolate. And like, there's got to be a market for it. Who knows? I've got to say that there's a store here, Morrison's, and when we go by, if they've got bowls, we will just take whatever's on the shelf. So if you live now by me and you're looking for these bowls, I'm sorry, I've got them all. Can we chat about production schedule, especially if you make more than 12 bonbons, flavours, various panned items and robed? How do you get to all of it? I would start, yeah, so that's a tough question. The production, there's like, when we make bonbons, we're doing it in volume. There's this, like, as home producers, there's this connotation that we would paint on day 1, shell on day 2, fill on day 3, cap and box up on day 4. The fillings are done before, anything else is done, within reason. Ganaches tend to do as you need them, but like all the caramels, all the nut paste, all the gandouillas, all the pralines, all those mixes would all be pre-done. The moulds would be sprayed in your leisure time because that's a design phase. And then that just leaves you the mechanical bit of shelling. But if the moulds are painted and the fillings are done, actually you've broken the back of the work, because then all you've got to do is melt chocolate, temper it in shell, and when they've retracted, or we use that word shrunk, right? Once those shells have shrunk and retracted, we would fill them, and when the filling's firm enough, we cap them. If you're doing panning, generally got a long shelf life, so you get that well in advance. If you need to freeze them, you can pan them and not glaze them and freeze them, and then thaw them out in the fridge. Same reverse that you do with bonbons. So panned products, because it's untempered chocolate, you would just freeze it in bags, vac pack lightly, and then glaze those as you need them when you've got a bit more time. I think with bars, again, bars long shelf life, get those well in advance. If you're trying to get everything done like right at the last minute, it just kind of doesn't work like that. You've got to break the back of the kind of minuscule job. So, like I said, if your caramels are done and your fillings are done, now you just need to concentrate on painting molds. And it's getting some of those kind of, I want to say, nasty jobs. Some of those thankless jobs out of the way. I think Paula posted this week, right? Here's one tray of 8, but that's caramels, all wrapped up. Salted caramel production date 30th of the 9th, 30th of September. Those were being done. So there's 18 kilos packed, stacked away, vac packed, and one bag is one mould, right? So one bag is enough to do one mould, right? So there's 18 kilos. It's 320 grams, right? 320 grams per bag, within reason. And we'll change those flavours as we need to. I think Paula posted earlier this week. It's getting all the nut paste. It's getting all those things done in advance. When Stuart, the blind chocolatier, who is incredibly organised and always well ahead of his production. The bits that take the time at the last minute, he had done months ago, and they're fine. They're not in their finished format, but they are in a format like my hazelnut paste. It's just a hazelnut paste. I will then decide what I'm going to make from that. If I want to turn it into praline, it will go back in the melange. If I want to just make it into candied, we'll add the chocolate to it and nuts and all those bits and pieces. What we're not doing is painting the moulds and then running around trying to do 12 different fillings. The other thing that I do is, like, if I'm doing ganaches, which we will and we won't, depends on what we're doing. But where we have 12 flavours in a box, or 50, the new packaging, it's boxes of 15. I would have thought 3/4, if not 80% of those fillings are done well in advance, because I know they've got a long shelf life. And I think that having a plan of what you want to make well in advance is also absolutely crucial, right? Because what you don't want to do is fill your fridge with a load of stuff that, like I'm not going to use black sesame, so all we've got is one vac pack in there, that's it. And I'll pick and choose where I want to use that, but it's not necessarily always going to go in the mix. If it was going to go in the mix and it was one of my standalone flavours, we'd make more of it so that I'm not running around at the last minute. And I think, just having a plan of knowing what needs to be made, and then looking at that plan and saying, right, how much of that can I get done in advance without deterioration of quality and shelf life, right? Completely not chocolate related. James, have you heard the awesome new discovery at Petra? Yes, I did. I did, Nathan. We were there less than a year ago, and there was some archaeological digs going up at the front of the treasury. If anybody's seen Petra or been to Petra, but yeah, they've certainly found stuff underneath the entrance, which is quite intriguing, actually. Alice Goebel, hello. Oh, there's lots of information going back and forth. It's lovely seeing everybody say hello to us. Everybody. So as Paul is saying, yeah, three of my 5 caramels are made, 15 by 500 gram bags of each flavour made. Also started making bars, and over 30 trees made. Like bars, you know, as long as you are happy with your tempering process, you can make bars months and months in advance. You just got to protect how you store them. if there's no inclusions and it's just plain bars, yeah, you know, I'm not going to say a year in advance, but they will be as good as the shelf life of the chocolate, right? So if you're making bars at the last minute, you've got to ask yourself, why did you plan doing that, right? Equally, you can't be making ganaches too far in advance because they don't really warm through. They do warm through, but they're nicer when they're fresh. Things like caramels, yeah, you can warm them through, change the flavour, change the chocolate, turn them into something else, but there's nothing wrong with just having that big batch done, right? What's this about slim chocolatier? Never trust a skinny chef. Actually, you know what? Just never trust a chef that doesn't eat their own food, right? I think that's that. I said something I said to chefs over the years, and I said this at dinner tonight, because we had a friend with us for dinner, and I said my advice consistently over the years has been, if you want to get better at cooking, grab a spoon and taste what you're making. Just, people don't taste what they're making. They follow a recipe and think, well, that's it. But if you don't taste along that journey as it's going along, you will never know whether it's as good as it could be, because recipes are a guideline. You still might need a bit more seasoning. You still might need a bit more of something, right? Recipes are a guideline. I think flavour is instinctive, and the only way you will get flavour right is to grab a spoon and taste some, right? You can buy the best pans in the world, but if you don't taste your food, you're never ever going to know, right? So life motto: chocolate creams. How are you, my friend? How's KoKo settled in? Yeah, like she's been here a year. She's got her own chair. She's crazy. She's got the right level of craziness to live in this house. What more could I say? Yeah, she's sweet, she's adorable, and she's a lovely distraction, right? A lovely distraction. Did I miss a question somewhere? I saw, Stuart, your panning machine is definitely earning its keep, right? I've not even had, it's sat here on the bench, I've not even had chance to, I've plugged it in to check it's working. That's as far as I've got. I am head down, just about keeping up with what's going on at the minute, as well as the pearls and other bits of prices. So, full on for me at the minute, absolutely full on. It just couldn't be any busier if I tried. Not complaining at all. Absolutely overjoyed with the support and loyalty we get. There are days when it's a 6 a.m. start and a 10 p.m. finish, and it's just all day long, absolutely non-stop. And if I'm honest, there's been some days where I've been making products just to get into orders, right? So yeah, how quickly can you chill something and get a label on it so you can put it in? So I think if anybody's got some of the butters this week, you might notice that the production date was the day you ordered it, right? If you have a look at the batch code, you'll see when I made it. I love that sign. We used to have a sign on our door: you don't have to be crazy to live here, but it helps if you are. Yeah, absolutely. Can any of the pastry chefs among advise me where I can buy flower-shaped pastry damper, please? A flower-shaped pastry damper. I would have thought the cake decorating company, to be honest. Mo, cake decor. You don't want to put that on your bald shoes, though. That will scrape them, Mo. That's not going to work, mate. Honestly, it's not. I'm just going to scroll back. Who else we got? Wonky Bonbons by Linka. How are you? Coated Chocolates. Lots of names. Lots of new names here. If you've got questions, fire away. If you're having problems in production, if something's not working, something's not right. I launched these yesterday. These are the little KoKo Pearls. I'll show you what they look like. These are here. They are tiny little pearls of colour. These are 5-to-1 ratio, right? So these are 5-to-1. You see all my nails, my hands are absolutely stained, coloured at the minute. So they're little mini, they're a third of a gram. And one of those pearls will colour what they are for white chocolate. So they're really aimed at pastry chefs and chocolatiers that kind of do panning, or chocolatiers that also do some patisserie work. So they're kind of aimed, like if you wanted to colour white chocolate, you can use the colours. The problem is it dilutes the fluidity really badly. So you know, white chocolate's quite fluid anyway, and if you start, you know, if you wanted to make a white chocolate yellow, you could add the hello yellow to it, but the fluidity would go from a 3 drop to a 6 drop in a, you know, 60 grams of chocolate in a 60 grams of cocoa butter into white chocolate would make it too fluid, right? So they're 5 to the 1. So all you do is just drop one, you know, 6 pearls will do 400 grams, or 1 pearl will do about 67 to 70 grams of white chocolate. Great if you're piping lines. It's just something else that you can kind of have in your armory of not needing to have huge amounts of fluid or cocoa butter going into a mix. If you wanted to, you know, if I had a white caramel, so if I had quite a blonde caramel and I wanted to darken it down red and we wanted to do googly eyes, yes, I can use the yellow colouring, but the other thing is I could just drop one of those pearls into it and blend that through. And they are fully tempered, so technically, if you've got 70 grams of white chocolate and it's down at the 34-degree mark, if you add one of those to it and stir it through, it will temper because it will seed, right? And that's the other thing. So I tried making maple syrup deduction, boiled very slowly, but it crystallized. Any tips? If it starts crystallizing, just do a tiny drop, Linda, of glucose or inverted sugar, whichever one you got. I would prefer you did glucose because then it's not so sweet. Maple syrup's very sweet anyway. A tiny drop. Get a brush. You just need to wipe. You just need to. If it's a very tall-sided pan, let me get a bowl. If it's a really tall-sided pan, what happens is you end up with this moisture that floats around, like it's mini atmosphere. That sinks back down, and it's the water that gets stirred back into it. Just brush down the edges, but a tiny drop of glucose. Like if you, when I say a tiny drop, a teaspoon of just liquid glucose to go into there would be more than enough. If you really want to, a tiny bit of sorbitol. If you've got powdered sorbitol, just put some of that in when it's at its real liquid state. That will just help with some of the crystallization. Ruth Kendrick, yes they are, but they're better. I could use them to paint on fondant. Yes, you could. Yeah, you could. Instead of using dust and coat, yeah, you could, Mo, exactly that. So exactly that. Yep, it's the same as Mrs. So Sassy said there, it's the same concept. Same concept, stronger. These are a 5 to 1. I think that other brand is 3 to 1. Lot more powerful. Don't know too much about the other product. It's not something I kind of researched, right? This is something that we created to fill a gap in the market, because people can't buy certain things, right? Or they're not allowed to use. There's lots of people that aren't allowed to use straight powder colour format. There is a lot of regulations around what colours you can use. So how much you can put in, and actually proving that limit. And that's always there's always an awkward area. Different countries, different legislation, different rules. The other thing is that like with the powders, we could do them, but shipping them becomes different legislation. So when they're in a solid form, not a problem at all. If we start shipping powders, the additional legislation and paperwork that goes with it just wouldn't make it worth our while. I think shipping would be double the amount, if not 3 times the amount, right? So to do with KOSH regulations, so that's control of substances. Pom Coco's asking, question about fluidity. When hand dipping candied peel for orangettes, would it be advisable to make my chocolate more fluid to have a thinner coat, or just rely on shaking the chocolate off? The problem with, so when you're dipping orange strips or candied fruits, if the chocolate's too thin, it doesn't bind enough. If you cut the strips really thin, what you'll find, if you do a really fluid chocolate, what you'll find is the strength, because they tend to curl, right? It's very difficult to keep them straight. You can dip them straight, but as the chocolate contracts, when they bend, if that chocolate's too fluid, what it does is it cracks the chocolate. So you'd be better off having a 2-drop. You'd be better off having a 2-drop chocolate and dipping it. I mean, I don't like things like I know what you're talking about, the orangettes, right? So it's the candied peels in the strips, okay? I've seen it done many ways. There's no quick way to do it unless you've got an enrobing belt. I think that you always leave a little bit of the stick uncovered, all right, and you put it on, and people just flick it over the end and then just lay it onto silicone. With if it's too fluid, two things go wrong. One, the strength of the chocolate is stronger than that piece of candied orange. So what happens is it bends and it cracks, and then when you go to remove them, the chocolate stays on the silicone and a little bit of candied orange or lemon comes off in your hand. The other thing is that if it's too fluid, when you put it down on silicone or on silicone mats, whatever it is that you're doing, you'll see it will pull outwards. I'd be inclined to use a 2-drop chocolate, or a chocolate that's a little bit thicker, and actually go the other route. Because it's going to be a thicker bit of chocolate, it will tap off easier, and then when you put it down, it's unlikely to start spreading, and it'll give you a more refined finish. Because it's going to have a thicker coat on it, that chocolate's going to be stronger than the strength of the piece of orange, which will want to curl. And Pom Cocoa, I know you know what I'm talking about when I say those little, you dip those sticks in and they like all curl up on you, right? That's the joy of doing candies. Look, it's a labour of love. They are absolutely beautiful. They're one of my favourite things, right? When they're done really, really nice. I like the orange cut a little bit thicker, definitely, and I always like them dipped in dark chocolate because I think it just works. Even if they've been candied and then sugar coated and still dipped in chocolate, if it's a little bit thicker, I know they take longer, charge more for them. I think they're a premium product and they're handmade. You can always tell the ones that have been enrobed, right? You can always tell the ones that have been machine enrobed, and I like the hand dipped variety, right? So pick a thicker chocolate, not a thinner one, all right? What's the best way to mix the pearls? We are going to do some work. There's three prime colours there: red, yellow, and blue. Okay, red, yellow, and blue will make up the full spectrum. We did these in 0.3, so that, for example, if you had 500 grams of white chocolate and you wanted to do light green, like a lime green, I'd probably pick 3 yellow and 1 blue. Give me a lime green. If I wanted it darker, we'd add an extra blue. But the maximum we can do would be 6, right? So you can track back from there. Equally, if you did a red and you wanted to lighten it a little bit, you can add the yellow. You can add the white if you wanted to have a little bit more brightness or opacity to it. The best way to blend them is just to think about that colour chart, that, you know, a red and a yellow will give you orange, a yellow and a blue will give you green, and then track back from there. A red and a blue will give you purple. If you add a white to it, it will tone it down. So you can achieve lots and lots and lots of different colour shades and pastels if you think about the 6 pearls to 400 grams. Put them into chocolate at 40 degrees and they'll melt. Some people that are doing glazes, so some of the people that tested the product, when they did glazes and they dropped them directly into mixers with a hot glaze going on, they sank to the bottom and it never came to the top. So you kind of do need to melt them, but if you're going to put them in chocolate, melt chocolate to 40 degrees. If you're doing panning, it works anyway, right? Melt the chocolate to 40 degrees, put the pearls in that you need, and if you start with a minimum, you can always add more, right? So the maximum we suggest is 6 pearls per 400 grams. Chocolate shells is there. Hi, Michelle. Hello. It all does make sense. Glad I asked. Doing orange in the dark and lemon in the white. Yeah, way to go. If you dip it, like I said, dip in the orange. Go with, like, everybody's instinct is, would it go faster if I do a thinner chocolate? No, don't. Just, you'll get a much more refined product if you dip them in a 2-drop. Always. It's just so much easier. And at least then you can drop them in, kind of bang them over the side and get the majority of it off. You can even, I mean, we used to tie a piece of string across the bowl. So we'd dip them and then just drag the string across it and put them down, and it's a little bit quicker. There's no fast way to do it because you've got to hand cut the zest, square them all off, get them all the same size, make them amazing, do something simple amazingly well, right? That's the keys to the kingdom. Do something simple amazingly well, right? And I think candied oranges and lemon, I think that's one of them. And lemon with white chocolate, nothing to go wrong, right? Good evening. Siobhan is asking, have any of you used Belcolade for shells? It's cheaper than Calibre at the moment, but I've not used anything other than Calibre. I like Belcolade chocolate. I think it's a really, really good brand. For some reason, and I can't explain why, I had this conversation with Chris Harvey. For some reason, it kind of fell out of favour, and I couldn't tell you why, because it's a huge manufacturing plant. They do massive amounts, on par with what Calibre do. It tended to be sent more to industry than domestic, but then domestically, you know, I could walk up and down the street and knock on doors and say, like, what does the word Calibre mean to you? And most people would go, I have no idea at all. So Siobhan, I would get one and try one. If it's good value, right now, if it's good value and it's in your budget and you can get good stock of it, I would go for it. I'd use it. I really, really would. Here's something that's worth considering as well, and I think this is it's an important statement, and it's my opinion, okay? But I know it's shared by a lot of chefs that I talk to, and it's shared by a lot of people in industry. The chocolate snobbery days have gone. Buy the chocolate that you can afford. Buy the chocolate that you can get good stock of. And the other thing is that the general public, they don't know the difference between a 70 and an 80%. They don't know when you say it's a 54.5% chocolate, they don't actually know what that means. The majority of the public, there's always going to be one that knows everything about everything, but like the majority of the problem, they will just say, I like dark milk or white. They've not seen ruby chocolate. The only caramelized chocolate they know is Caramac, right? So you should use that to your advantage, that it's not for you to educate the public, it's for you to sell to the public and explain what you do, and for them to enjoy it based on the information that you've given them. Absolutely nothing wrong with Belcolade, absolutely nothing wrong with Calibre, absolutely nothing wrong with Luca. And the public have never heard of those brands, or Valrhona, or Belcolade. They've never heard of them. So pick the one that you like, pick the one that you can afford, and go with that, because it's your business, right? It's your business. You're allowed to do whatever you want to do. There are no bonbon, please. Chocolate's chocolate. Some's good to shell with, some isn't. I would never shell with an expensive chocolate. I wouldn't. There's just no point. The outer shell is adulterated with colour, necessarily. The biggest bit of chocolate we give them is the cap, right? And then the filling is diluted down with cream. So the filling is the biggest volume, metric volume of what we've got in a bonbon. My shells generally are kind of 1.4 grams. 1.6 grams, and they're 13. I mean, that's a 13 gram roll. 1.6, 1.7 grams maybe. It's not a lot of chocolate. If I put the cap on there, we're maybe at 2.5 grams out of 13. So I've still got kind of 10.5 left to play with. But yeah, buy the chocolate you can afford that fits the budget for what you're selling, for what you're doing at the price points that you sell your chocolate at, right? That's important. Good evening. It's okay to heat cocoa colours to 40 degrees Celsius and drop the temperature in a freezer to 31 and use it. Stir a movement is essential for better results. I wouldn't use a freezer. With tempering the coloured cocoa butters, melted is melted. So whether it reaches 36 or 40 or 42.1 is absolutely irrelevant. It needs to be melted. It needs to ideally be above 35. And then just balance it over cold water. Like if that was a tub of cold water, I would sit that in there and I'd stir it until it gets down to 26 and use it. My brand we use at 26 degrees. Other brands, different temperatures, but the rapid cooling of it, and agitation is what creates the beta crystals. Once we heat it above 33.8, those beta crystals melt. We've still got cocoa butter, like chocolate. Once we heat it above 33.8, we've still got chocolate. Nothing's changed. We just changed the chemical structure of that cocoa butter, or we've melted the beta crystals away. I don't know if I'd use the freezer, because freezers are... If you're going to melt a bottle and put it in the freezer, it's only going to cool down from the outside. Actually, what it needs is agitation, I suppose. You could melt the bottle and hold it, put the lid on really tight, hold it onto a very cold tap, and shake, that would cool it down rapidly, but we're trying to get the whole mix to cool. I don't know if I put it in the freezers. Freezers are full of humidity, and you'd end up freezing the whole outside area of it, not necessarily the middle, so that when you go to stir it, you'd end up with shards breaking off all over the place. Melt the cocoa butters. So we have got a video coming out on this when I actually get round to editing it and posting it. Melted is melted. There is no level of meltedness. It's either liquid or it's not, you know, and cocoa butter is as fluid at 35 as it is at 45. Once it goes over 33, it's as fluid as it's ever going to be. And then we're going to balance it over cold water, and we're going to stir and cool it down very, very rapidly to 26. If we need to warm it up, we do it really, really gently. If you think of the beta crystals like candy floss, you've got this big mass of filaments, okay? So that's what it would look like if we took an X-ray. But like with candy floss or cotton candy, if we took a big chunk of it and ate it, it's like disappeared, it's gone. It's kind of, the beta crystals that sensitive. If we warm up chocolate or cocoa butter very rapidly, like in a microwave or with a heat gun, if we warm it up too rapidly, we're going to melt those filaments, like the candy floss. We're going to melt those microscopic filaments. They're the bits that all bind up and make the chocolate shrink. If we cool it properly, it will find its own layer and it will shrink away from the surface it is touching, which is why the shells would come out of the mould, right? I've got some shells over there that I've got to turn over, but the freezer's not something I would use. Freezers are full of humidity because of the ice, full of humidity, and if you put anything in there that's remotely warm, the cold air will cling to it, condensate, and then you're going to end up probably with liquid inside the cocoa butter. So as I've just described. Let me hello Erin. She's an inexpensive wire cake leather and lay it over my bowl to drag my dipping fork over. Yeah, absolutely. You used to tie a bit of string across a bowl. You can get you know the nylon thread, okay? You get this really strong kind of nylon thread, even I would say like braided fishing line. Tie that over 2 forks, and we should use that. Just tie it over a bowl and use that to just drag bits over to level them off. So made chocolates, hello, thank you for that bedtime routine that you've just described. I speak wise words. No, I speak logic. I speak on behalf of chocolatiers around the globe that have been bullshitted to about why you should buy the chocolate suppliers need us more than we need them, right? Just bear that in mind. Buy the chocolate that you can afford. Do you know how many people have bought a high-end chocolate only to discover they could only get one bag, and they've done their menu cards and everything? Do you know how many chocolatiers that's happened to? Do you know how many messages I've had from people that have bought such and such brand of named chocolate and then done their menu cards and then messaged me to say, I ordered this one and I've done my menu cards, and that how do I now make my 54% chocolate 60? What do I need to do to it? Because I can't afford to change the menu cards because I can't get the chocolate that I originally and choosing the chocolate that you like, and also choosing the chocolate that you like to work with where you can get enough ordered in for you. Two very, very different things that you need to consider, particularly this time of year when the scales are going up. There is a reason so many people use Caliber, because they can get the volume of it, right? There's a reason that people use Belcolate, because they can get the volumes of it. Absolutely no point in ordering something for, like example, Valrhona Equatorial. I've only ever been able, it's my favourite chocolate, it's one of my favourite chocolates, goes back all the way to the days of working for a very famous chef, and that's all we ever use. But I'm only ever able to get one bag at a time. So I don't want to name it on anything, because I'd never be able to get the same one again, right? And I like, integrity is the honesty of doing the right thing when nobody's looking. So, you know, I don't think there are many chocolatiers that do this, but they name one brand, but you know damn well there's something else going on. So I think that's, you know, you've got to be, what is good chocolate? I'll tell you what good chocolate is, the one that you like, the one that you taste, the one that you like, the one that you are happy to work with at the price point that you're able to produce bonbons that you can sell. That's a nice chocolate. As I said, the majority of the public, they've never heard of Calibut. They've no idea what Calibut is. They'll probably say like it's a cycling team, right? They've no idea at all. And if you mention Valrhona, there's a few chocolate snobs that know all about Valrhona, but you know what? The majority of the public, they've no idea at all. They know Mars, Kit Kat, Bounty, and Snickers. So I'm not suggesting you use that as your advantage, but you can be quite poetic in how you word things, right? This is the challenge of using branded products, right? If you head over to the Facebook page for the Chocky Chat crew, I've posted this afternoon under my own name, Elodie Matthews, and described my process in one of the comments. Happy days, I saw that. Pom Coco. Your dehydrator, which temperature do you have it on? This one here, that's got all my colours in it. So very often, most of this is for teaching, right? So, oh, I can't get the tray out. I'll turn the machine on at 50 degrees, and then after about 30-40 minutes, if they've all melted, oh no, I can't get the tray back in. After 30 or 40 minutes, if they've all melted, I'll turn the machine down to 40, 35, 40. I don't store temperature. They are for melting. I use it to melt the volume of colours that I need. We'll take the bottom tray out and we'll put this size in if I need to, right? And if I'm doing the big bottles, I'm doing the big 280s, we'll make sure the top's on really, really tight, and I'll put them in there so that they're leaning up on something, and we'll just melt them. I have them leaning up just so we can get air circulating around them, because if I leave them flat, I always find this bottom edge never melts. If you tilt them up a little bit, for example, with a big bottle, we get a bottle of Fool's Gold. If I put that in the dehydrator and I just tilt it up a little bit, it melts in half the amount of time. If I leave it flat, it takes ages. So it's called conduction of heat, all right? So I don't use it to hold, I don't temper cocoa butters and hold them. I temper them, I use them, I put them away. And that's 35 degrees. The lowest I can get that to is 35 degrees. And at 35 degrees, temper cocoa butter would go out of temper because we would melt all the beta crystals. Chris Harvey's there. True that, brother. Here's a good one. Chris has said that. Civilians don't care. They eat with their emotions and not with their intellect. Totally, right? I love how you're down to earth. Me? I am down to earth. I was going to write something on Chocky Chat page because somebody wrote Chef James. Please don't call me chef. I am one, and I have been for years. I never insisted on it in kitchens ever. I've got this thing about people that put chef in front of their name. I'm James. I have been to my team. For every place I've ever worked, like we were all in the shit every single night together, and I was one of them, and it was James, and I'm cool with that. I don't need to put chef in front of my name. Everybody knows who I am, right? Nobody ever walked into my kitchen and went, who's in charge, ever. What are your thoughts on melting them in a sealed bags in a sous vide? What the colours? Why would you? You want to temper them. The only thing I am going to do a post on making silk sous vide. So I've got all the stuff. I've got all the stuff there. So I know there's some other. Amy Levin's got a video on it. I'm going to do my version of it. See if we can reach some people. Seems to be like there's a real shortage of micro. Nobody wants to go to Christmas seeding chocolate. That's for sure. That's a lot of stirring. Your arm will fall off by the time you've done that. But Silk is the best. Easy Temp, like I said, I've said this so many times. If I was going to start again, I would have bought something like Easy Temper or an incubator much earlier, much sooner. It's a game changer, not just for tempering chocolate, but also tempering cocoa butter and also tempering fillings. The quicker I can get fillings firmed up, the sooner I can cap them, the sooner I can get them out the mould, the sooner I can decorate the mould and go again, right? So, Robert Charles, hello mate, he's in Wimbledon. Good tips. So how you use the Dehydrators? I don't temper the colours and hold them in that melter. They are there just to melt the volume of colours that I need. Very often when I'm teaching, because people that come here for the class, they want to use every single colour. We've got 78 colours and they want to use every single one. And I think we're close to having 2 dehydrators so I can get all 78 in there and the other products as well. They're for melting the amount that I need. And they're melted. It's melted. I will then temper it, then use it. And then when I finish using it, I'll put it away, melted, out of temper, because I'm not going to use it again, right? So, someone called me a chef earlier. I was horrified. I'm a chocolatier, not a chef. Whoa, that's like fighting talk. Chris Harvey saying I made my mum call me chef. I thought somebody called me Jeff once. I was like, why are you calling me Jeff? And it was a kind of Malaysian accent. And he's like, no, I'm calling you chef. Yeah, I bet that went down well, Chris. Didn't it? What did you get? Did you get a slip around the head? Where's Chris? Why don't you? Chris, send me a. Chris, if you're there, if you can talk, you might not be able to talk. Send me a request. I can have a chat with you, or you can have a chat with us. You can answer some questions. We've got 30 minutes left. Mr. Harvey, where are you? That's nice. Linda saying, Chris Harvey, my mum's Irish. She'd wipe the floor with me. She's 86. Aaron saying, I had somebody with an accent tried to say executive chef and it came out executed chef. Yeah, brilliant. I've been called a lot of things over the years. I've been called a lot of things over the years. I don't mind. Don't have to call me chef as long as you're respectful. I'm respectful. I'd never, He's not. Is Chris being shy? He's being shy, isn't he? Chris don't want to talk to me. Should we do a chant and see when he's going to join us? Harriet's joined us. How are you, Harriet? I'm just going to scroll back. Mo saying, that's all Irish mums. Mine's the same, 5 foot and 7 stone wet through. Still keeps a wooden spoon by the back door. I know wooden spoons hurt, right? Talking of wooden spoons, I broke my favourite wooden spoon, and I've been on. Yeah, I like a wooden spoon for caramels, right? I don't like this. I don't like using these for caramels. Something makes me cringe because that catches the bottom of the pan, and it always bloody flicks caramel up. And if anybody's been hit in the face by caramel, I know there are different trains of thought on this. I like a wooden spoon because the heat doesn't go up the handle, but it's got to be a long, thin wooden spoon with a very small, like the end of it's got to be that big so that you can stir in little circles, right? Every time I've used a silicone to stir caramel, I've always ended up wearing it in some way, right? Bring the girls in, they can get him to talk. What's that? High temperature of melting it to colour your fingers. Don't know what you mean there. I'm going to send a few more waves out. I experimented with your caramel filling with a weak pumpkin. Do you have any advice when adding other fruit fillings? Problem with pumpkin is it's fibrous, so you'd need to really blend the pumpkin. I would definitely cook it first, right? And then blend it and then collect the juice off it. Pumpkin's not particularly high flavour either, so it's the fibre that holds a lot of the flavour in it because it's cellulose. And then pumpkin juice, not particularly fruitful. I'd blend it with something else. I'd probably get more sugar in there and more spices in there just to kind of try and lift that flavour a little bit. There's no other way of lifting that flavour really. The caramel recipe, the caramel ganache that I've got on my page, don't add fruit to that because it doesn't work. That's a totally different process. So, where is the best place and container to store your coloured cocoa butter after use? I get these. They're 80ml cups. So I've got 80ml or I've got 160ml. They've got a little lid on it. When I finish with it, it'll go into one of those. That's crystallised. There's type 2 crystals. Look, they're cute, aren't they? That's type. They look like geostones, don't they? That's type 2 crystals. I just put a little lid on it and then store it away with a lid on. It's good. It will go back to room temp. They're tempered. They'll set solid, and they're as good in little tubs as they are in bottles, right? Scottish chocolates. My silicone spatula slipped 2 weeks ago, and my pinky, index finger, and tip of my middle finger went into my 185-degree caramel. Exactly that. There is the bendy bit on these when you're doing caramels. Just don't. And I did a video, and somebody's like, shouldn't be using a wooden spoon. It's like, it's 185 degrees. I'll use whatever tool I fucking want to, so that I don't end up. But this seems to, when you're stirring, it flicks it up, and you always end up wearing it. You get caramel on your face, you'll know about it. But you get it on your fingers, you jump. You get it on your face, it's like shh. When you go to wipe it off, now you've got a burnt hand as well, right? Has anyone read Harold McGee on food and cooking book? Started reading it to see what he had to say about chocolate. Very informative. I have, Harold McGee, I've had more conversations with than I remember on the science of food. A lot of my knowledge, I did the international Bachelor of Science, international gastronomy, and the bachelor's part of the food science was with Harold McGee, and fascinating take. Really, and you know, he's like Raymond Morato and like Chris Harvey as well, right? They just explain it in such a simple, easy format that you go, I understand it, right? And you hear somebody else explain it, and you're like, I have no idea what they're talking about, right? Harold McGee, absolutely worth a read. Like, Google some of his stuff. There's lots of excerpts of things on the internet on Google. His understandings of flavonoids and the science of food is absolutely fascinating, and some good insights to give you structure around how you would formulate flavour, right? Formulating flavour. Oh no, that was your first chocolate injury. Badge of honour. Still can't really use my right hand. It was pretty bad. Really? I've seen. Do you know the caramel? So we take dry caramel to. We make a dry caramel. We take it up to 180 degrees. I've seen that cause more accidents in a kitchen, commercial kitchens, than knives and machinery. I've seen caramel cause more accidents than a wet floor sign, which is the most dangerous thing in a commercial kitchen. The wet floor signs cause more accidents than they solve, normally because people walk into them. And they're plastic, and then you stand on them, it's like a roller skate, and off you go, right? I've seen the caramel cause more injuries than anything else. Normally at the point where they got the caramel, and they've got the cream, and they go like this, and they dump all of it in, and it erupts all over the stove. True story. I know somebody that was here tonight that did that to a kitchen, probably about 15-20 minutes before service. Turned all the pilot's lights out, the whole kitchen, destroyed the whole kitchen in one go. I was asking, is it okay to hold a bonbon in the hands at 36 degrees Celsius and then see the colour? Yeah, it is. 36 degrees is way too warm to be holding chocolate. Chocolate generally melts between 29 and 31. Coloured cocoa butter will start melting. At 32. It'd be fully melted at 34.2. So yeah, way too warm. And we got, just walk around, bowl of ice, right? Bowl of ice. Right, what time is it? It's nearly that time. I'm gonna go and phone Chris and go, well, where were you? I need to arrange and have a chat with him. We'll have a chat. He tell us what he's up to. He's got some fun things going on at the minute, which I don't know if he's ready to share with us all. We'll go and have a nap. He wants to meet KoKo anyway, right? We'll get Luna and KoKo together on camera and see if there's any chemistry. Who knows? Right, it is nearly that time. I've got here, this is not a gin, this looks like a gin and tonic. We got the alcohol-free gin and a tonic water, and we kind of rather like it. It's kind of quite nice, and it's given me an idea to do some bonbons, to do like a gin and tonic type thing, but with lime. But I quite like that. That's it's not really gin, it's the alcohol-free one, but yeah, really, really nice. That's my drink of choice today. Normally it's Ribena, so you see how much I've grown up in the last week. Everybody have a nice week. Please keep safe, be nice to people, especially those closest to you. Keep going. I posted something the other day, and it went on the lines of, if plan A doesn't work, there's 25 other letters in the alphabet. Keep going. As long as you've got a plan, just keep going, keep going. It's Christmas, it's money making time. Do the hours, burn the midnight oil, burn a candle at both ends. If you've got to start early and finish late, fucking so what? We will be done, finished in 6 weeks' time, and we've been waiting a long time to get to this point. Make money, make chocolates. If you make mistakes, it's fine. Don't let them leave your kitchen. Try and understand. If you're not sure what happened, send me a photo and I'll answer. Keep going. Just keep going. It's money making time, right? You can all do it. Get on the Chocy Chat page, share ideas, share thoughts, support each other, and I know that you all do that anyway, including myself. So, would love to have a wall of your quotes in the kitchen. Would be very motivational. Maybe we should do a Chocy Chat page of motivation, right? Yeah, maybe I'll do a post at the weekend on that. People can start adding in. What would you say to motivate somebody in the kitchen? Have a nice week, everybody. I will see you very, very, very soon.